Okay, Carrie, unlock yours.
I did.
Invite Mr. G to come on. We'll
yeah, Mr. G, hit *6, and if you want to, you can start. Tell him what happened, and give a little testimony of what went on, and then we can have people ask you questions if that's okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Can you hear me all right?
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I can hear you beautiful.
Okay. Well, I guess I got into a tax situation in 2004, and it's been escalating ever since. I had put a house into trust and tried to keep it out of harm's way, and so I don't own that anymore. But it's so then I tried to settle with them along the way, and they didn't want to settle. They wanted to go to court. So then in 2016, end of July, they started a court case in federal district court. And so it lasted, 27, 28 months. It was 169 volleys back and forth, on the docket. And they'd do their thing, I'd do mine. They'd do theirs, I'd do mine. 169 times. We're supposed to go to trial. They picked us out of that. So then they just, and it's so interesting what I learned through all that. They're not necessarily truthful. It's okay for them to lie. They don't follow the law. I talked to a attorney that was a former IRS attorney, and he guaranteed me that I couldn't win. I guess that kind of made me mad. So we just kept going at it, and of course everything I did didn't work. And so then finally I guess I was listening to Carrie, one of Carrie's shows here, or more than one, and got enough information to go to U.S. tax court in January of 2018 here. And I've got back the motion to dismiss in early April. Let's see, about April 9th, I guess it was. And then in the meantime, the DOJ attorney had gone for summary judgment, and they got their summary judgment, and they had gone through the trust, and so they were going to sell the house. And so that was around the 18th May. So we had 30 days to file an appeal or put something else into the case. So I was talking to another gentleman, and he liked some of the stuff that I did, and he said, well, you didn't prove it. And I said, I had the law down, quoted the law that they were violating, and they said, but you didn't prove it. He says, everything they do is by precedent. So he said, they don't follow the law. And then also I found out that when they put a lien on you, a notice of lien, it's on the public record. They put it in the liens at the recorder's office, and then it's considered public record and the truth, and they use that against you, and you have to be so careful to rebut all that stuff. Well, anyway, my story is pretty long here, but so then we got our paperwork in again to prove some of this stuff, or at least get some some court cases in, and we put in an order to dismiss and vacate judgment, and it was really some of the same arguments, and we did that just a couple of days before the 30 days was up on the 15th of June, and then I had called, of course, the tax court to find out why they hadn't ruled on my motion to dismiss, and they just laughed at me, and they said, "Oh, well, and the attorney at the tax court that made the motion to dismiss for lack of jurisdiction quoted that I was in a court case already, and so they knew what was going on, and they just dragged their feet and made sure that they got their judgment before, or that the court got their judgment before the tax court decided to dismiss." So it wasn't until let me see here. It was July 20th when I got an order from the judge to dismiss from the tax court for lack of jurisdiction.
But now, before you go, wait a second, now, Mr. G. What was it? You got it for lack of jurisdiction, but what was the reason for the lack of jurisdiction, and who gave that, and why did that, and why would the court give you that?
Well, I had. There was no notice of deficiency and no notice of determination that was sent for all the tax years that I had put in for. I had actually put in longer than probably that I was supposed to, but from 1990 to 2017. And so they had said that they had diligently looked through the records and there was no notice of determination or notice of deficiency, and therefore no jurisdiction, and they dismissed. Does that answer your question?
Well, the tax court just decided to do that?
No, it was the tax court, or it was the attorney for the IRS that decided to do that in the tax.
Okay. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
There was a 15-page article she sent me, or a motion to dismiss. It wasn't just your little standard 6 or 7 page. It was a pretty good one. Anyway.
Yeah.
The judge signed off on the motion to dismiss for lack of jurisdiction because there was no notice of deficiency or notice of determination. So this was in the meantime, and so when we had answered the second time to the court after the report and recommendation from the magistrate to the judge, then we got to put in the tax court determination that there was no jurisdiction. And in between all this time, I had also sent to TIGTA and to Treasury and to the Internal Revenue, what is his name anyway? And so I had sent off letters with the my motion highlighted what they did and what they said, and also with the determination of the court that there was no jurisdiction. So I sent all that in along, to everywhere. So, what happened then was a real God thing. If you don't mind here, I'll just. I quoted the scripture a real lot because I needed a lot of help. And I hate law, and it doesn't make sense to me when you read it and all their stuff. And this was probably the hardest thing I ever did, is make it through here and married yet. And so the scripture was 1 John 5:14, and in the Amplified it says, "This is the confidence, the privilege of boldness that we have in Him. We are sure that if we ask anything, make any request according to His will, in agreement with His own plan, that he listens to, and he hears us. And if since we positively know that he hears us and whatever we ask, we also know with settled and absolute knowledge that he has granted to us as our present possession the request made of him. You know, so I'd quote that on the way to work and thank him for a dismissal with prejudice. And so they poo-pooed everything that was in there, including the tax court jurisdiction or lack of jurisdiction, and everything we did, of course, they poo-pooed, and when it all came down to the end, it said this action is dismissed with prejudice. So what specifically caused it? I don't know, and I guess so then I can only blame God then for his help, because that's about it. Because there was, of course, they just deny everything, and they would never tell you what you did right. So that's how it went after 28 months, and that they had already had the judgment. The case was already over, and then we put that on top of the case to more information and more. And then the second time, then when after the report and recommendation that we disagreed with, of course, then I had the documentation from the tax court, and I put that in. And that's about what happened. So,
Mr. G.
Thank you for that. We appreciate that. Now, does anybody have any questions for him? He's available.
I got a question.
We don't care about your question. We don't care about your question. No. Go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead.
Mr. G, did they have your property on the courthouse steps, or was it released before then?
Okay. What happened is when I filed the motion to vacate judgment and to dismiss with prejudice, they stopped the sale of the house.
Uh-huh.
So while they were dealing with the motion, the sale of the house was in limbo or whatever, and the company from Texas that's supposed to do it didn't do anything, because the attorney said it's probably best if we don't. That's what he told the judge. So nothing happened, and then in the meantime, finally, I think after they knew they won and everything else, they told the tax court you can rule on it because we know that you don't have jurisdiction, and so they did. So that was a full 2 months after their judgment in May. So it took 6 months. 6 months for them. A little more than 6 months for them to get out of tax court.
Yeah, but dang.
Yep.
Okay. Do you think what we're doing helped you?
Absolutely. Yeah,
right.
I don't know what exactly, they'll never tell you what you did right, so what, if it was ticked that got ticked off, I don't know, Carrie. I really don't know. Yeah. So I know.
It doesn't matter. You're in your house. You're still in your house.
Yeah.
And that's just the way it is.
That's pretty wonderful. Yeah.
All right. Does anybody have any questions to ask Mr. G? All right.
I do.
Anybody?
Sorry, I was chewing.
Yeah, you're sorry. You're right.
I am.
Well, you said it.
I did. It's my fault. Mr. G, why did you file for all of those years?
Why didn't I file?
No, you mentioned that you'd put in from 1990 to 2017.
Well, when Gary was first talking about it, that's what they had done, is went from 1990 to 2017. If I was going to do it again, I would have went from 2002 to 2017 because those were the issues or the years that were in issue with my case in federal district court.
Okay. I just wasn't sure if you were just going back, as far as you could or had filed, or if they were coming at you for those years.
Well, okay, I talked to a guy today, he called me. He went back to 1955 to 2017 and just got his case, his court order today. But Mr. G went back that far because at that time he had some issues in 1990, so we just went back there with him. So if you go back to 2000 and you have something in 1999, they'll go back to 99 and pick it up. So he went back there because he had a couple of issues back in those years. Now the guy that today called me, it took him about 7 or 8 or 9 months to get it, but he went back to 1955, and I asked him why. He said, because that was when I started working. So, okay. So,
and what was it that guy filed, going back to 1955?
He went into the tax court, just like we did. They didn't have notice of deficiencies or notice of determinations. And he got his court order that said they don't have jurisdiction because they didn't give him any notice of deficiency or notice of determinations. And they said for the year 1955 through 2017.
Okay, it's still confusing, but I'll be quiet.
The reason it's confusing is it's really, really simple. And see, we've been on defense so long. This is an offensive move, and you don't recognize the signals. So when something happens, you don't recognize it because you've been on defense so long.
So that gentleman that filed back to 1955, he didn't have them coming after him for anything. He just decided.
No, he had them coming after him for probably 2005, but it doesn't matter now. He just went. He. I think more than anything, some people are. You said not to do it, so I'm going to do it. I want to see what's going to happen. See what I'm saying? And I think that's just. I mean, I'm asking you for an example. Let me show you what I'm talking about, ma'am. What state are you from?
Confusion.
Yeah. No. What state do you live in?
Texas.
Okay, Texas. Okay. I was talking to a lady today, and just to show you, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions if you don't mind, and then we'll get back to somebody that has something important to say. Here's my question to you: Are you married by any chance?
No.
Okay. Since you're not married, are you up for a three-way?
No. Except the light
really?
switch.
So in other words, I couldn't call you and then call another friend and then use my phone and tie you in and you help me with him. Is that what you're saying?
You're right. I assumed. You're right.
See? That's the problem we have right there. See? We just automatically assume it, and then so you answered me. So now I can't. I don't have help, but I don't think that's what you meant.
No.
See, okay, and see what we need to do, and that's what Mr. G's doing. What you do is we're on offense now, and offense is so different. You don't recognize the signals. But me, I'm just an idiot. See, I'm stupid. I'm one of the dumb guys. So what happens is I don't have no preconceived anything. So when I go to a job site to bid a job, it doesn't matter to me what it looks like. because I don't have any preconceived notion of what it's going to be. I know what it is. I know what it's going to be. Does that make sense? And so that's how I just do everything. I'm sorry about that, Mr. G. I kind of cut you off there, but don't assume anything, and I think it'll just be better.
Okay, I'll bow out. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you. Does anybody have any questions?
Next question. Nobody got any problems, huh?
Nobody's got them, it looks like.
Check out our other videos and playlists. Republic of Texas RT documentary. Texas and other American states is under a military occupation. The Republic of Texas Forum of 2016. And describe the kind of people who would thrive in independent Texas. And so check them out.
I got one for you. I finally figured out how to unmute the phone here. Sorry.
Okay. That's okay. And for those that don't know how, it's *6. Go ahead. Your question.
So, Mr. G, when you got your paperwork back from the motion that your friends at the IRS put in to ask for dismissal, did they actually ever admit that they had not done those very specific things, or did they only say what they had accomplished?
They actually admitted that they looked very hard and could not find any.
Okay.
So I'm
now,
just looking here.
One more thing. Now, the attorney for the DOJ or for the IRS put in the motion. If I understand this right, happened to be the same attorney he's the attorney that said they didn't have jurisdiction. He's also the attorney that put in the motion to take his house. Is that correct, Mr. G?
You know, Gary, I did not look that up, so
okay, that's know. Okay. Okay. The other day we did that. We helped a different guy, and when he got to the courthouse, he showed up. He's the very attorney that wrote they didn't have jurisdiction because they didn't give him a notice of deficiency or notice of determination. Then he shows up at the court hearing to take the guy's house, and now he's in a very peculiar place because he just told them a few months ago they didn't give him what he needed. Now he's in there trying to get his house, and the judge says that ain't happening. And the reason it didn't happen because if you didn't have jurisdiction then, how did you get it now? So he was very, very fair, and well, I say that because he helped the guy. So, anyways, does anybody else have any questions that we can try to answer?
Well, what I was kind of getting to with mine is that in helping my dad, when we did his case, he got his dismissal, but it wasn't till after it had closed that we recognized that they had never said anything other than, yeah, he doesn't have any good arguments here, let's just dismiss this. So they never came back and answered any of the standard questions and suggested they looked for something, couldn't find it. We have none of that in there. But I'm not sure it makes any difference, does it?
Okay. Does it say it's been dismissed for lack of jurisdiction?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, so jurisdiction has a very peculiar definition. Do you know what it is?
No, I do not.
Well, let me tell you what it is. What it's saying is we don't have authority. Jurisdiction means authority. So they don't have authority. See? So when they say to you, we don't have jurisdiction because you didn't pay the $60, we're going back now telling the court, well, if you didn't have jurisdiction, how do you make me pay? If you don't have jurisdiction, you don't have the authority, then how are you asking me to pay the filing fee? I'm confused. I need a clarification. See? So now they're being very careful. They're being very careful. See? So jurisdiction, you have what you need. You can move forward with what you got.
All right. I thought that was probably the case, but I kind of wanted to see if you had any insight into that. Thank you.
You bet. No problem. Okay. Does anybody have a question? Okay. Does anybody have anything they want to share with us, if they don't mind? Well, we have a treat tonight. We have a new guy on here, Mr. G, and he's willing to tell you. So if you got something you want to ask.
Well, my name is Burley Session. I'm calling from Kentucky. Can you hear me okay?
Oh, Matt, I hear you.
Yep.
I hear you like in the room. No problem.
Awesome. I just got, I tried to file to get the information from the United States Tax Court. I don't have any issues at the moment, and I wanted to try to be ahead of the game. So they sent mine back. They dismissed it. Should I just resubmit it? They just dismissed it because I didn't pay the $60 fee.
Okay. Now, does it say on your form or on your dismissal, they dismiss it for lack of jurisdiction because you didn't pay the filing fee, or did they say, we just dismiss it?
It's saying that they just dismissed it. It doesn't say anything about it. Just said because petitioner has failed to pay the filing fee. It was ordered that the case is dismissed.
Okay. The reason they're doing that because we're going back that way. Okay. There's some Supreme Court cases that says you don't have to pay a filing fee. I would go back in there. I believe, Ed, if I'm wrong here, Ed, correct me. Ed may have a couple of cases that says you don't have to pay it. And I would just go back and say, I need a clarification. The Supreme Court case, and then put them there, says we don't have to pay it. Give me I need a clarification. I'm not an attorney. And then send it back. We're going to make the court do their job. The complaint that they're having is they're doing 100,000 of these a week. By them turning it down, what it's doing is it's doubling, tripling, quadrupling. So eventually they're going to be shut down just from penetration. So eventually they're going to reach a million a week because they keep turning us back. If we keep running at them, see, they still got to address it.
Should I use the same docket number or just do it
of course. Of course, no. Okay. Use the same docket number. See, you're going to go in there and you know how to do a motion? Do a motion. Petitioner versus respondent. See, docket number so and so, and then say, I'm not an attorney. I need a clarification. You said dismiss for filing fee, and then put down, according to the Supreme Court case, this one and this one, you don't have to pay a filing fee, and send it back. For those of you that don't know, the reason you can't pay the filing fee, because if the IRS, you go to the administrative side of the IRS, if the IRS says you have a $900,000 lien, as soon as you pay the $60, the court's going to come back and say, no problem. We can't hear the case until you pay the $900,000. When you pay the $900,000, even if you don't owe it, do a 1040 and get the money back. See? So that doesn't help us. So that's why I didn't pay it, because I went on and I read a whole bunch of these, and several people were doing pretty well. They paid the filing fee, then the court turned on them. So, because the IRS has two sides. They have an administrative side and they have an enforcement side. So if you owe money and they're trying to get it, chances are it's the enforcement side. For those of you that would like to, go to Title 267608, and it'll give you the jurisdiction of the enforcement. So ask them what their pocket commission is. The pocket commission is it's going to be an A or an E, and then if they tell you they're an E, you hand them 7608, because 7608 will tell you what jurisdiction they have. Okay, another question from Mr. G.
Yeah, I have a question. May I ask a question? Okay. So I actually have a couple of questions. One is with regard to what are infractions, traffic matters, and this is in North Carolina. And it started out as an infraction traffic matter, and then one day I asked for a notice that I had appeared, and that turned into a cop grabbing my arm and then saying, "I touch you now, I have to take you to jail." And then he added charges. I was there by special appearance under threat, duress, or coercion. And so he then charged me with, he charged me with trespass, second-degree trespass, resisting officer, and disorderly conduct. And so at that point, they started talking about a psych eval. The assistant DA that has been on the case, she is the daughter of the Superior Court judge that they brought into Moore County, North Carolina, who made a wrongful action on our home. And I had appealed action against her before. So it's become extremely hostile. I've been stalked by the cops. I've been assaulted in open court.
Stop for just a second. Yeah. First of all, here's in my opinion. Now I'm going to say some things here, and it's probably going to be we're going to have a whole lot of argument. Here's what I heard you say: me, me, I, me. Special appearance. See, it's not about you. Now I want to try to explain. Okay, it's not about you. It's about jurisdiction. That's all it's about. Let me show you what I'm saying. If you're on a 10-story building putting a roof on and you fall off, which way are you going?
I'm going down.
Okay. How about if you're on a 3-story building? Which way are you going?
If the roof falls off, I'm going down.
Okay, but wonder if you're a man.
You said if I'm on the building.
No. If the person that's on the roof is a man, then what happens?
Well, hopefully he will stand on his feet.
No, listen. He falls off the roof, and it's a man. Right. Which way does he go?
He still goes down.
Wonder if it's a dog.
He still goes down.
That's the law. The law of gravity. See, it doesn't matter who it is. As soon as you bring yourself into it and say, "I'm here by special appearance," what that does, you're taking on all the responsibility. See? In other words, I'm working with the lady now. They picked her up, threw her in jail, stripped her naked, and made her stay in there for 36 hours in a 50-degree cell with no clothes. So the whole time she's in there, she's screaming, "I'm here. I'm a sovereign. I'm a flesh and blood. I'm a." Doesn't matter. They ignore all that. See, because it doesn't matter if you're a or I'm a. Doesn't matter if you fall off the roof, you're heading to the ground. See, so it's not about you. It's about the law. It's about the law. So what the only question that can be asked is, do you have jurisdiction? When they say yes, you can say, I want to see it. If they don't show it to you, just say, I appeal, and sit down and let them do what they're going to do. Because then you can appeal on the fact the law says, this is the gravity, the law says if you challenge jurisdiction and it isn't proven, they can't go anywhere else. But they're going to. So you'll win in the appellate court. Okay. See, does that make sense?
Yeah, I follow you on that. So,
Okay.
And I'm not sure if the example you use, even though I say a woman, separating myself from the straw man. And
okay, there
so
you go. Wait a second. It doesn't matter about the straw man. If you take the straw man and put it, wait a second, you put the straw man on the roof of the house and push it, where's it going to do?
Mm-hmm.
It's going to fall to the ground just like the real person. It's not, you can't bring that, and that's hard to get your arms around. It isn't about you, the straw man, the pea man, the pee-wee man, the big fat guy. It's not about any of that. What it's about jurisdiction. Now, let me ask you a question.
Okay, so I did challenge jurisdiction multiple times, both in the Superior Court and the District Court. One judge said it has nothing to do with jurisdiction. Another judge, he made the comment.
Wait a second before you. Okay, hold on. When he said it doesn't have anything to do about jurisdiction, did you say I object?
I did.
Okay.
And in fact,
then appeal. Then you can appeal. Then appeal.
Jurisdiction is challenged. It has to be.
Okay, listen. Then appeal. You appeal.
Okay.
You appeal on one issue. Okay. What did you appeal it on?
I did appeal on the basis of the jurisdiction and that there's a federal issue because it's unconstitutional. I mean,
okay. Again, see, now you're bringing in Constitution and you're bringing in. It's. I'm trying to tell you this, and it's very, very difficult. Okay. Let me ask you a question. Okay. Are you married? Are you married?
No.
Okay.
I'm not.
Okay. Have you ever been married?
No.
Okay.
Nope. I'm married to the Lord Jesus Christ.
That's great. If you get married, get married, are you going to marry a male or a female? Because I don't have a clue.
I'm going to marry a man.
Exactly. See? All men are males. Not all males are men. That's where you're getting yourself confused. What we're doing is we're trying to go in there and hold it up and say, hey, so let me ask you a question. How do you give the court jurisdiction? Tell me how you give the court jurisdiction.
I don't think I can give them jurisdiction, really.
See? So then they didn't have it. See?
Right.
Okay.
So I get your point. You're saying everything starts and finishes on jurisdiction. If there's no jurisdiction, there's nowhere else to go.
That's right. Okay, here's my question.
Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm telling you, there's in rem, which is subject matter, and in personam, which is personal jurisdiction. Which one is the most important for the court to have?
Both.
See?
Both are important.
Nope. They're essential. They have to have both. If they don't have both, they have nothing. So you can challenge jurisdiction at the beginning, in the middle, and at the end. Name me one other law you can do that with.
Okay. The other issue is it's a knowing false charge. They're putting it on an old expired North Carolina driver's license, which I've documented in.
This is really not okay. This is not the format for that. If you want to, whoever told you to come here, on there it has Ed's email. Email Ed, and I'll send you some stuff on that, and I'll help you with that. But this is really about people. Okay, this is really about tax problems because we can go down this path. We can go down this path forever and never. So it's kind of you're okay.
So I do have a tax question.
Then go right ahead and do that. That's what we're here for.
I didn't realize that the discussion tonight was
only
about tax.
So we're not upset. That's perfectly fine. Not a problem.
So with regard to tax, I did receive a notice in the mail with regard to a tax in 2006, 2007.
Now, please hold on now. Hold on. I take nothing for granted. You got a notice in the mail from your babysitter?
No, there was a notice from the IRS that came.
A notice of?
It didn't have anybody's signature on it.
That's
it was
okay. Again, you see, you're all over the board here. Now, wait a minute. You got a notice of?
It was stating that there were taxes due for 2006, 2007.
All right.
Now, they previously had sent a letter. I'm not a taxpayer. They had previously...
Okay, wait a second now. Stop right there. Okay, you're not a taxpayer.
No.
Why is that?
Because taxes are voluntary.
Okay, do you walk? Do you walk everywhere?
No.
Do you drive a car?
I travel in a car.
Okay, you're complete. Okay, you travel in a car. Do you fly in the car? See, what you're doing is you're old school. That doesn't work. Okay, in your car when you're traveling, does it use fuel of any kind of fuel?
Yes, it does.
Okay, when you buy that fuel, what is figured in that at the pump? In other words, if you pay $5 a gallon, what is in that $5? Tell me what's in that $5.
Yeah, they do include taxes.
Okay, do you pay that or do they take that off for you?
It's included, so I pay it by default.
I didn't hear you.
I pay it by default because it's included.
Doesn't matter by default. You just said I am not a taxpayer. Then you just told me you pay tax. See, that's your problem. You're not able to departmentalize. That I'm very good at. See? Okay. In other words, okay. Now let me ask you another question. I can't tell because I can't see you. Are you a male or a female?
I'm a woman.
Okay, see? You get that one, but you don't get the other one. Ed, do you have the 2358C?
I think so.
Would you call it up, or when you get it up, let me know? What you're trying to do is you're trying to have your cake and eat it too. You can't do that. Okay? You're either in or you're out. See, you're having a problem because what happens when you go to court? Now, my wife wants to get a divorce, so she goes to the federal district court. And the federal district court gives her everything, my house, my car, her car. I got to give her my retirement, and I got to pay her $1,000 a month. What did she just get?
She didn't get anything, really. I mean,
Tell me why.
Those material things, but that court has no jurisdiction to...
So she got nothing. Okay, how do we give that court jurisdiction?
You can't. They don't have authority to hear those matters.
Okay, there you go. So either the court you're in has it or it don't. So you going in there saying, well, I'm here by special appearance. You're not going to believe this. I'm wearing my hat backwards. That doesn't mean anything. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get you to understand. That's where our problem is. Who's ever showing this, I'm a living, breathing soul. So what? See?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's not about you. Ed, would you read that if you have it? Now, I want you to listen to this. Okay,
what are you reading?
Listen.
Reading.
Okay, now wait a minute. He's reading a 2358C letter from the IRS. Now listen to it. Go ahead, Ed.
It says, Dear taxpayer, thank you for responding to our inquiry about the above tax return. Based on your information, we agree that you aren't legally required to file a tax return for the above tax period.
That's good enough. Did you understand what he just read?
Yeah, that's the standard letter, I guess, that they send out.
No, it's not that is not a standard letter. It says, Dear taxpayer, you are not required to file a tax return. What are they telling me?
Read it again. Let me hear it again.
Okay.
Thank you. It said, Dear taxpayer, Thank you for responding to our inquiry about the above tax return. Based on your information, we agree that you aren't legally required to file a tax return.
Now, tell me what that just said.
It said that a taxpayer is legally required to.
No, it said, dear taxpayer, you aren't legally required to file a tax return. So what did it say?
Did he say you are or are not?
No, are not. You are not required to. So what did? So tell me what it. So tell me what it said. That's very odd about that.
It says you're not legally required to file a tax return.
Who's not legally required to file a tax return?
Taxpayer, whoever the taxpayer is.
See, you're so quick to say I'm not a taxpayer. Would you like to get a letter like that?
Okay. Sure.
You cannot get one. You cannot get one because you're not a taxpayer. The IRS is a tax. See, they cannot talk to you. When you walk into the courthouse, whether it's for taxes or for a traffic ticket, and you tell them, I am not a, that's all they can talk to. Guilty. The sheriff don't know any better. He's going to chain you to the floor and take you off. That's just the way it is. That's what I'm telling you. See, it's not about you. It's about the law. Just like I tried to tell you about the law of gravity. It makes no difference how tall, short, fat, skinny, color you are. When you fall off the roof, you're heading to the ground. That's the law. See? So, that, dear taxpayer, you are not required to file a tax return. So they're telling me I'm a taxpayer, but I don't have to file a tax return. Why would they tell me that?
I don't know.
See?
Why would they?
Okay. No. What I'm trying to show you is because, see, it's not about me. It's about the law. The law and the way we're doing it, the IRS told me I was not legally required to file a tax return. Why? Because the law said I'm not. And that's what we're trying to show you. We're trying to show you a different way to look at this. What we're doing is we're on offense. We're running around the end. They don't even see us coming. Now, I'm going to repeat this. I went ahead. It was a few weeks ago. I had a federal judge call me and said, there's some guy in Texas that's taking people to the tax court. They're killing us. I said, yes, sir, that's me. He said, would you stop it? Now, the question is, why are they concerned? See?
Why is that? And what did you tell the people to do to get them to send that letter?
It doesn't matter. You can't get one anyways. What I'm saying is, I have a court order that says the IRS does not have jurisdiction. Now, with that, I asked the IRS, since you don't have jurisdiction, give me a 2358C letter, and they did. Why? Because they don't have jurisdiction not to give it to me. See?
Right.
They don't have the authority to tell me to do anything. So I said, dear IRS, because you don't have jurisdiction, you have no authority, here's where it says that, enclosed for your convenience. Send me my copy of my 2358C letter. That showed up. See?
Okay.
Now.
Okay.
See? I'm going to ask you a question. I want you to listen to this. I'm going to hit you with a hammer, or I'm going to hit you with an aluminum bat. What do you want me to hit you with?
Neither.
See? Now, that's right. See, because I asked you, and that's what we're doing. See, when you go to court, you're telling them I'm a non-resident alien. When you walk in, they're going to say to you, "Wow, non-resident aliens automatically go to jail. Statute 104.2653-49A6Q." You're going to send them and say, "What?" And then you're off. See what I'm saying?
Okay.
It has nothing to do with you or your status. It has to do with the law. The law says, as Mr. Q said, the law said he did not have to. They did not have jurisdiction. He went to court. They're taking his house. He hands it to them. Guess what? They don't have jurisdiction. How can they sell his house if they don't have jurisdiction?
They can't, but they're doing it. That's the other issue that I have.
And that's because you're going there and you're saying, I'm not a taxpayer. Well, so what? You're not a taxpayer. We only deal with taxpayers. Take her house. She don't even deserve it. So they take it. See? It's not about you. And that's probably my biggest challenge that I have. People, whoever I talk to, always want to say, what about me? See, once you do that, you're taking on all the responsibility. If it's not about you, there's no responsibility, because what they're doing, they can't do. Does that make sense?
Well, I hear what you're saying, and I would say in part it does make sense, but in part it doesn't, in that it's happening. So my question would be, like, for example, on foreclosures, when they are proceeding, as I'm sure plenty of other people have stated, and they don't have authority. Like, I started out really simple, asking for whether they, had or real party of interest, if they had a proof of claim, if they had authority. Simple questions. Those simple questions.
Okay.
And
but now you're bringing in the third party. See, you're bringing in a third party, and a foreclosure is totally different. See, again, this forum isn't about foreclosures. This is about the internal. And see, Mr. G happened to have a foreclosure because the IRS did it. The IRS took his house, was going to. They didn't have jurisdiction, so we were able to stop that.
Okay.
See?
Okay.
Okay, thank you so much.
So I know you said that I wasn't able to do it because I'm not a taxpayer, but is there something that you instruct people to do when they
I can't help you. I can't help you. I can't help you. You're not a taxpayer.
Okay.
See, but yes, I will do that. Get on your invitation here tonight. Ed's email is there. Email Ed. Tell him what you want, and he'll give you either my email or my phone. That way I can work with you and tell you what we're doing and how we're doing it. But I just want you to understand, what we're teaching is different. What we're teaching is different. That's all.
I love the challenge of jurisdiction. I love the challenge of jurisdiction, and I'd like to be able to make that challenge.
Okay, let me see. I got a text earlier. There's a lady on here from North Carolina. Are you on the phone right now? Okay, she may not be here. She challenged jurisdiction on a traffic issue, and they told her. Okay. Would you tell this? Good, thank you. Would you tell this young lady what happens when you challenge jurisdiction in the proper way?
Don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel. Don't forget to like this video. And don't forget to click the bell next to the subscribe button so you're notified when there's a new upload. Here's the front page of the channel. The bottom arrow is pointing at the subscribe button that's normally red until you click on it, and this one turns white after you subscribe. And the right one is the arrow. The top arrow is pointing to the bell. Now, the bell doesn't show up until after you click the subscribe button, and then the bell will show up. And that way you can be notified of new uploads.
Okay. So tell me your name. Just your
Marva.
first name. Hey, Marva. My name's Tori.
Hey, Tori. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. I had an opportunity to exercise my muscles a little bit around jurisdiction while I'm actively in the tax court with a petition. So I had a traffic ticket that I got in May, and in June I went to court, and I asked for a continuance. And I actually asked for a trial by jury. They said, come back in July and be in this courtroom, and you can have your jury trial. So I showed up. There was no jury trial. I had already sent them some information around jurisdiction, and they didn't want to even give me the time of day. As a matter of fact, the DA said to me, I have no intentions of dismissing this case. So I asked for another continuance for September. Okay. And while I was working on the continuance for September, it was around jurisdiction. And I had asked Carrie on one of these calls if you could challenge that actually before you got to court. And he said, sure. I don't know why not. Just try it. So I put a letter together to the clerk of court, and I said, this is my citation number. This is the day I'm going to be in court. I will be challenging the jurisdiction of the court. And when I arrive, I will be asking for the police officers, the prosecutions, and the judges' oaths of offices, copies of their surety bonds, badge numbers, and bar cards, because what I did was not breaking the law. A speed limit is an ordinance, and I don't believe that this court has jurisdiction over me in this matter. And then I cited a Supreme Court case stating that we have the right to travel freely. Well, I bided my time. I stood up when they called my name, told them that I was representing myself, and about 4 hours later, a woman came in a door from behind the judge's area and called my name again. And when I walked up to this little half wall that separates us from them, she laid a piece of paper down on the half wall and patted it a couple of times, and it had a handwritten word, sovereign, on it. And she said to me in a whisper, she said, we've looked at your driving record, and it's clean, and the police officer said that you were very cordial when he stopped you. So the state's going to be dismissing this case. And I said, thank you very much. You have a lovely day. And I turned around and walked off, because they didn't want me standing in that court that day in front of that judge and challenging jurisdiction. And none of those people spoke to me that day. None of the three of those people. The police officer was there, the prosecutor was there, and the same judge was there. And I walked out. They don't have jurisdiction over you, Marva, because they have to have in personam, and that's personal jurisdiction. They can only have in rem, which is subject matter. But I've even found out that in rem, not necessarily subject matter, it has to do with the thing in question. Well, the thing in question was me. They don't have jurisdiction over me. So what Kerry is doing is he is on the offense, and he goes after what they've done, and what they've done is they've broken the law. They're not even following their own rules or laws, and they are governed by Congress, and they're not following those. So all these things that you and I know, and Kerry also knows about the straw man and all that stuff, that's not the playing field that we're in.
Right.
Now we've come into their backyard now. So thanks very much for letting me talk.
No, thank you for that. Now let me just explain it to you this way. I was summoned to court. When I got there, he asked me how to plea, and I pleaded innocent until proven guilty. The judge says we don't have that plea. I said why not? You asked me to plea, and that's what I am. He said, well, we don't have that plea. I said, okay, then I'm handsome. He says, well, no, we don't have that plea. See, he said, we have guilty, not guilty, and nolo contendere. I said, well, I'm none of those. The judge says, well, I'm going to enter a not guilty plea. I said, then I'm going to object. He said, what are you objecting to? Because I didn't say I was not guilty. I said I was innocent until proven guilty. The judge says, That's the same thing. I said, okay, then I won't object. He whispers in a loud whisper to whoever that person is that does that fast typing, says he's not guilty. I got up, put my stuff in my little briefcase, and I started heading to the door. He says, where are you going? You said I was innocent. I don't have to be here. And I just walked out the back door. See, I challenged jurisdiction, and he told me, see. So anyways, if you have any more questions about traffic, get a hold of Ed, and then I'll work with you a little bit on that, because this isn't the forum for that. So anyways, does anybody have any questions about the tax court?
I have a comment.
Go right ahead and make it.
There actually, now that I think about it, there is a question. I was wondering if anybody else has filed the petition number 2 and gotten a phone call from the commissioners.
Everybody does, 100%.
Okay, so terrific, because, my friend that did it got her call. She filed 2 days after I did, which was a couple months ago, and she got a call like over 2 weeks ago. I got my call yesterday morning, and they had a lien on my home, and they had they were saying I owed $1.5 million. And yesterday morning they called and said they were dismissing for lack of jurisdiction.
There you go. See, now you're going to take that lack of jurisdiction. You're going to get a certified copy of it, get several. You're going to put a little package together, and I'll help you with that. You're going to take it to the county, and you're just going to file it at the county and let it go. Because, see, now the county is in contempt of court. So what we're doing is we're challenging the county, and how we're doing it is I don't have a lien on my property. I don't owe the tax. We're not doing that anymore. What we're saying is dismiss it. And they always say, well, we have to do what the IRS says. Then show me what they said. I found out almost never do they have anything in writing. It came from a phone call or a handwritten note or a typed note. Now the county is in contempt of court. So we've sued the county in the state. And guess what? They automatically release it. See? Mm-hmm. So you're in good shape. You're in real good shape. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, well, thank you for sharing, because that was quite a burden, and I knew I was in the right, but that did not stop me from being in panic.
Right. Well, good for you. Everybody gets that call. Now,
Gary.
Yes, sir.
Oh, I want to ask her a question.
Sure, please do.
What does Santa Claus look like when he come by your house?
I don't know, because I couldn't see because I was crying all day, and I kept going and telling my family what had happened, and they were going, but wait, they dismissed your case? That's horrible. And I would say, no, that's good. And then they were like, wait, I don't understand. Why are you crying?
Right. Very good. Thank you for sharing that. Now, okay, the other best thing that can happen to you is have a bank take your money. I'm a contractor, and that means when I do a job, the job could be $200,000. Well, before I can start it, I don't have the money to buy all that material. And it's customary that the contractor would ask the builder, in other words, if you're building a big restaurant, and the restaurant's going to be a multi-million-dollar restaurant, my part might be $100,000. I ask for half of the money up front so I can buy the materials without bankrupting myself. So that's what happened. The restaurant owner wrote me a check for $50,000. I took it and installed it and put it in my bank account. The next day, I get a phone call from the bank, and the bank says, you deposited $50,000 in the bank, and the IRS is asking for it. So I said, okay, I'll be right there. When I went down to the bank, I talked to the bank branch manager, and I said, first of all, how did they know I deposited it? Number two, if you give them my money, I gave them my court order that was a certified copy, and I said, you do whatever you want to do. I really don't care. But if my money comes up missing, you have deep pockets, and you're in. And then she said to me, she says, well, you didn't pay your taxes. I said, they don't have jurisdiction, and because of that, you're now in contempt of court, because it says right here that they don't have jurisdiction. So whoever called you on the phone telling you that they want this money, you're in contempt of court. She just looked at me. The branches, I'm at a bigger branch, so. The guy said, "I'm the bank's attorney." I said, "I don't care who you are. Here's my court order saying they don't have jurisdiction on my account," and I handed it to him, and he looked at it. I got a call about 15 minutes later. They said, "Well, we've decided we're not going to take your money. We're just going to tell the IRS to go fly a kite," or whatever she said. I finished the job, no problem. To this day, it's been 11 years. That bank has never taken one dime out of that account. And when I do a job, and I run through a lot of money because I'm buying materials and I'm paying guys and whatever, see? So I know this works, and I know it's very, very powerful. The problem is we have to use our head. We have to think it through. Once you get a court order, what can you do with the court order? See, you can go ahead and tell the county, take my liens off. See, take my liens off. Well, we can't do it because we got to do what the IRS says. It's not a problem. What did they say? Can you show it to me? And they're going to say, well, we don't have anything. Well, then what are they saying? I don't hear them. See? Right. That's how. I don't take anything for granted. So what are you hearing right now? Would you tell me what they're saying? See? Because where the problem comes, in order for them to do a lien, it has to be a 23C. That's the law. They're doing a notice of deficiency, a notice of determination, and a notice of lien. See? That isn't even listed. Well, a notice of lien is not a lien, but they're monetizing it. Once they monetize it, they have monetized a counterfeit security. They're just getting in deeper and deeper. I have a court order that says they didn't have jurisdiction, and they monetized the counterfeit security. What are they going to do? They're not going to want to argue with that. See? So what we have is we actually have the IRS on the run now. When I say that, I don't say that lightly, but what's happening is we're on offense now. See, if you're a football fan and your team never gets on the court, your quarterback never gets on the court, your defensive players stay on the court the whole time, you could win, but it's going to be very difficult. See, so in order for us to win, we have to be on offense. Now, does anybody else have any questions?
I have one for you.
Is it for me or for Mr. G?
Well, either one of you.
Okay.
The last caller, petition number 2, I wasn't sure what she was referring to.
What a petition number 2? That's the form number, I believe. The funny part about this is they give us the forms to fill out. The petition is form number 2. Go on the United States Tax Court website, go to Forms and Instructions, and it's going to say, what do you file? The complaint. Then when you open it up, it's going to say package. No.
It's not an additional action after.
No. Well,
okay, that's what I wanted to know. Let's make sure it wasn't something else.
Right.
Okay.
We're working on another action to get all the money back they've ever taken. We're close to it right now. So, but you go online and you get their package. It's going to be a Form 2, a Form 4, and a Form 5, or 2, 4, 2, 5. Anyways, it's right there, and you just fill it out and send it in.
Got it.
That
Thank
makes
you.
sense for you. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
If you want an example,
I have a question.
send me.
I'm sorry. Before your question, please. What was that, Ed?
Tell the fellow that if he wants an example of John Doe example, to let me know.
Okay. Did you hear that, sir?
Yes, I have that already.
Okay.
We've already gone through that process. I just want to make sure it wasn't something new that I hadn't figured out or heard about.
Yes. Well, you're going to be hearing about something later. Go ahead, ma'am. What's your question?
Hi. So once one has the ruling from the U.S. tax court, I'd like to use it for two different but related situations. So number one, if one's employer is withholding the maximum amount because they got a letter from the IRS telling them to do so, how would you use that ruling without creating a, difficult situation with your employer?
Okay, the problem you're going to have is it's going to be a difficult situation. You just take it to payroll and give it to them. Tell them that they're in contempt of court because the IRS doesn't have jurisdiction. They're not going to let you do it. You got a lockdown letter. Then I'm going to recommend this. This is something no one else would recommend to you. While you have your court order, do a 1040 form and put $575,000 deductions so you get all your money back. And then don't worry. And then as you work on it, then that way you have a chance to get your. Once you get your 668Z, and we're getting them, you're going to have to go to you're going to have to work at it. But you have everything you need. Just do a 1040 until you get it all worked out. That's all I can tell you to do.
What is the 668Z?
It's a certified release of lien. It comes from the IRS. If you have, or it's a certified release of levy. So if you have a levy, you can take that to your boss, and they'll take care of it. Now there's a 12277 form. Now you can fill the 12277 form. If you look at it, it's a form to tell the IRS to release your lien and or levy. Then take your court order that you have and the motion that the attorneys wrote that generated that motion. I'm recommending that you highlight the parts in there that tells them that they don't have jurisdiction. Then do a cover letter and tell them, release it because you don't have jurisdiction. Release the liens that you have upon me, or release the levies you have upon me, because you don't have jurisdiction and you're in contempt of court. Now, if you have to battle it out with the IRS, see, we fight them on a tax level. You can't beat them there because that's their strong suit. The problem is no court has jurisdiction over the taxes. But the United States District Court has jurisdiction over a court, a contempt of court. So if you had to go to court, I'm not saying you're going to, you go there under, they are in contempt of court. Let them defend it. Don't worry about it, see? Let them defend it.
Right. Yeah,
okay.
The IRS has never done a lien or levy. They just sent a letter to the employer saying withhold the maximum.
Right. Right. That's a lockdown letter. See, the problem is once you give them this, you give your company this certified, get a certified copy. It's certified.
Got that. Mm-hmm.
Okay, walk in there and give it to them and say, now, the IRS doesn't have jurisdiction to give you that letter. Don't talk about taxes and don't talk about withholding. Say, now you have, see, now you can make it personal. In other words, you have a letter, here's my court order, you're now in contempt of court, and give it to them. And they should release it. Now, for those of you that have state income taxes, we're starting to use this to help you with those. What we're asking you to do
That was actually going to be my next question.
Okay. What we're asking you to do is ask the state, get your tax booklet. You know, it's a 1040 instructions. Well, whatever your state's instruction booklet is, read it. In there it says your taxes are figured on your federal. Then write a letter to the tax collector or whoever the revenue agents or whoever they are, and you ask them. Never tell them. Ask them nicely. Say, hey, I'm doing my taxes. I'm getting ready to do them. How do I know how to fill it out? Where do I put the numbers and where do I get the numbers from? They're going to tell you. You get them from the feds. Well, now you take the letter they just wrote you. You take the cover letter and say, well, the feds don't have jurisdiction. How did you get it? Then you give them a copy of your certified motion and your certified order, and you send it to them. Now they got a problem. They just told you that's how you do it. See? Does that make sense to you?
So you mentioned certified motion, so are you now recommending that people get a certified copy of the motion that the IRS put in as well?
I would get one, and then just copy it, and then use copy of them because it has the stamp on it. Are you in front of a computer right now?
I can be. Yep.
Okay, when you get there, would you download the 1040 instruction booklet? I'm going to have you read a couple of things in it. Again, I'm a nut job, and I understand I'm a nut job, but if you don't mind doing that.
I totally
and then I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you some things so that if they pinch you real hard, you can ask them questions. I never tell them anything. See, I ask questions. See, I always ask questions. See, you know, if you want to know something, for an example, are you married?
Yes.
Okay. I don't even know how to ask this, but have you ever done a three-way?
You mean a conference call?
See? You see? Yes, that's all I wanted. I didn't know what it was called.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah.
You see? You never take what I say for what you think it is.
Yeah.
You see, I'm not trying to be ugly
here. Ask for the definitions of all their bullshit.
There you go.
Because all their definitions are bullshit. I'm going to show you something in the 1040 tonight. If you'll download the booklet, I'm going to have you read a couple things in the booklet, and you tell me what it means, and you'll see why I do stupid things like that. And I'm sorry, I hope that didn't upset you. But see, not at all.
What I'm trying to do is give you a different way of thinking, because when you do, you'll kind of start to see what's happening is when we go to court, you know, has anybody here ever been to court?
Yeah.
And the judge, okay, when you're there, does the judge have you ever heard the judge say, do you have a license to practice law?
No.
Okay, have you ever heard anybody ever? Okay, all right. Well, he asked me that. Who said yes? Who was that said yes?
I'm the one who was.
Yeah, that's okay.
Do you
have? Okay. Do you have? Yes, right. Do you have a license to practice law?
Nobody has a license to practice law.
Whoa!
I shouldn't make statements. I know.
That's not what I asked you. Do you have a license to practice law?
No.
Okay. Ask me the same question.
Do you have a license to practice law?
I have the same exact license the attorney has. Signed by the same guy, issued by the same guy. Absolutely. See? You see? You're laughing at it.
That's true, you do. No, it's true,
that's
you do.
Right. See? See? What's happening is we're in a box and we're trying to think past. We can't get out of the box. Let me ask you a question real quick. Are you college degreed? Because the more degree, the longer you've been in school, the worse, the harder it is for you. Do you have a college degree?
3 of them.
Okay, so you have 3 of them. Well, I have a PhD. Okay.
Piled higher and deeper.
Oh, absolutely not. A public high school diploma. No way.
Oh, well, there you go.
See? You see?
Yes.
What I'm saying to you is, see, that's the problem they have with me. I run around. They run around the court. I was in court a few months ago, and the judge was just being a butt. So I started jumping up and down.
You're
just didn't jump going. Huh?
I said you're kind when you called them a butt.
Yeah. Anyway, I jump up and down. I was just going boing, 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 boing. The judge says, "What are you doing?" I said, "Well, this is like a kangaroo court, so I figured if I acted like a kangaroo, you'd give me a better deal." See, this. Can you imagine trying to be in court with me? That's the problem. See, I just stand there and the judge says to me, "You're not really that stupid." I said, "No, sir, I'm not. I'm stupider than that." See?
Okay, I have the 1040 instructions.
Okay, what year?
2018.
Go to page 110, if you would. Now, I'm going to have you read something here. It's real short, and then I'm going to ask you what it says. Then you'll see why I push the what do you call it? The words. Are you there?
2018 runs out at 107.
Well, then you're on 2017 because 2018 goes to 112 or something.
Oh yeah, I am on 2017. It said
all right.
2018
go to page 100.
In the title.
That's okay. Right. That's okay. Go to page 100. It's on page 100. That's okay.
Okay, I'm on 100.
Now it's got 3 columns: left, middle, and right.
Yeah.
On the left column, on the left column, go down until you see 6011, 6012. It's the first. It's about 2 sentences down.
Our legal right to ask for information is IRC 6001, 6011, and 6012A in their regulations. They say that you must file a return or statement with us for any tax.
Stop right there. You must file. What does it say? You must file what?
A return or statement.
Stop right there. What is a return?
I don't know because
there's
no definition.
Whoa. There you go. Then what is a statement?
No definition.
Huh. So I'm going to file a return. Okay? Have you ever heard of the round file?
Yes.
Okay, I file mine. I write my statement on a piece of paper and I throw it in the round file. I do both. See? Mm-hmm. What makes us think, okay, it says return. When I got indicted, that's what I read them. So I told the judge, I says, tell the IRS to tell me right now what a return is. They said, it's a 1040 form. I said, yes, it is. But a 942, there's a 940. There's a CT1. There's a 2291. There's a 1041. You didn't tell me which one. See the problem? I don't know which one. I'm stupid, remember? I'm that guy that rode the short bus. So what we have, see? Now let me ask you a question. Tell me what a statement is.
The dog ran under the fence. That's a statement.
Then write that on a piece of paper, put it in an envelope, and mail it to your Washington, D.C., the IRS building. You've done everything they've asked. See the problem? That's why I'm a real stickler on words. I'm a real stickler on words.
Absolutely, they use the words to trick us, and then they
That's
trick
right.
your employer and the court and everyone. Yeah.
So once you get this court order, you see it's real powerful. When you get it, you can use that to do a lot of stuff that you have. Now, I want to ask you. Now, I'm going to show you. This is what I did when I was indicted. I'm going to ask you 3. Do you mind if I ask you 3 questions?
Go ahead.
Okay. Do you mind if I ask you 3 questions?
Okay, that's the first question.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, I want you to answer them yes or no because I want to get through these pretty quick. Are you married?
Okay. Yes.
Do you have a dog?
No.
Okay, now I want you to preface it the same way. I want you to say, I'm going to ask you 3 questions. I want you to answer it yes or no. Ask me that so you can ask me, and then ask me any 3 questions you want.
Do you mind if I ask you 3 questions?
I don't know how to answer it. See, you have to tell me. I'm going to ask you 3 questions.
Oh, I'm
you need to answer. See, you see, in other words, I don't know how to answer it.
Got it. Okay, got it. I got it.
Okay.
I would like to ask you 3 questions, and can you answer them each yes or no? Do you mind if I ask you the 3 questions?
Yes or no.
Okay, I'm going to ask you 3 questions, and I would like you to answer each of them with either a yes or a no. Do you mind if I ask you the 3 questions?
Yes or a no.
Okay.
See,
no, put this to you in writing. Yeah, I know.
You see,
but you're right.
I'm doing what you said, and this frustrates them. See, they can't get their arms around this kind of stuff. See?
Right.
And that's just what I've become really good at it, because I realize this is what they do to us. See, you read in.
Yeah.
That's right. You looked in their own book, and it says you have to file a return or statement. Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I filed a statement every year. I've been doing it since 1970. Every year. And I still do it. I take my statement and I put it in the round pile without fail. See the problem? See, that lady earlier said, well, I'm not a taxpayer. Well, how does she buy gas without paying it? I'm just saying, see, I'm just a nut job. I understand that.
No,
see?
You have to be very careful of statements.
That's right.
You make. Everything you say can and will be used against you.
There you go. And that's everything you say can and will be used against you. That's right. See? So just like, so what I'm saying is that's what kept me from being indicted, because they took 18 of us, 17 in a row went to prison. They got to me, and they were there 45 minutes, an hour at the max. I was there 9.5 hours, and they only asked me 4 questions. See, they could only ask me 4 questions, because that's what I did. I only answer the questions they ask. See, they want me to when they ask a question, they want me to answer it. See?
Well, they want you to interpolate their fiction language to your detriment.
Right. That's right. But I've just become really good at it. See, mm-hmm. I got pulled over, and the cop goes up to them, and I drive an F-150, and he pulls up beside me, and he walks up there and says, "Get out of the truck." So I got out of my truck, shut it off, and I clicked my little clicker, and I locked the door. He said, "What are you doing?" I said, "What do you mean, what am I doing? I don't understand. I'm getting out of my truck." He said, "But you locked it. You didn't say not to lock it. You told me to get out of my truck. When I get out of my truck, I lock it." So he's shining his light in, and I says, "Don't shine your light in my truck." He said, "I'm looking for contraband." I said, "Oh, what's contraband?" He said, "I don't know, but I'll know it when I see it." So I asked him, I says, "Would a brick of cocaine be contraband?" "Yes, it would." "Well, there's none of that in there. So quit looking in my truck." And he looks at me and says, "Well, I can get a warrant." I said, "Go ahead and get a warrant." I lowered my tailgate and said, "I'll wait right here for it, because on the warrant it's going to tell me what the contraband is." I said, "You tell me what the contraband is, I'll pull it out of there and give it to you." He said, "Well, I'll know it when I see it." I said, "I'm only telling you one more time. Don't look in my truck." So he turned his light on again. I said, "That's private." He looked at me and says, "I'm looking for contraband." I stood up off the tailgate, and I leaned over, and I whispered in his ear. I said, "Can I have sex with your wife?" And he almost fell down. I said, "See, that's private too." And I stood there. He didn't know what to do. He was absolutely floored. He just so he gave me my ticket and showed up at the courthouse. When he got there, the judge called me to the stand, up to the podium, and he says, "Your case has been dismissed." The cop didn't show. He was sitting in the front row. He didn't want to go through that again. See? He was asking for contraband, looking in my private truck. So I asked him if I could get a little private with him. He didn't think it was funny. I did.
Our blog is texasrepublic.wordpress.com. Our website is thetexasrepublic.com. Our email address is oneyellowroseenterprises@gmail.com. Our YouTube profile is, this is the link, because YouTube doesn't allow us to have a customized URL until we have over a certain number of subscribers. And follow us on Twitter at Texas Republic for You and at We Are Texians.
Okay, Kerry, we're about it. Time's up.
It's not a problem. Before you go, does anybody have a question for Mr. G or for myself?
I have
one
one
more chance. Okay, go right ahead.
So earlier when the lady that was just speaking was talking about how do you get your employer to stop the levy on your check?
Yeah.
I have thought, because I've corresponded a lot with the Human Resources Department and the Payroll Department and the Chief Legal Counsel over Global Labor and Employment for the company that I work for. Now, I'm still waiting on my favorable decision from the tax court, but I think when I get it, I'm going to send it to the local sheriff's department in the town where the corporate office is that I work for, and have them serve a court order to the Human Resources Divisional Manager and Payroll and Chief Legal Counsel. What do you think about that?
Absolutely perfect. But that's right. I would go over there and ask him to do it. Now, or pay a process server. A process server will charge you about $80. Just have a process server take it to them. That's perfect.
Yeah.
I never thought of that. See? The sheriff probably won't.
Well, if you have somebody from the court, serving it instead of it coming certified mail to them.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Maybe they take service.
The sheriff won't do it because chances are the sheriff won't do it. See, because but you can try that. But go to a process server and have the process server, and what will happen when he serves it, he'll have him fill out his paper and give it to you. Now you've got even more proof. See, then when it hits the fan, they'll be. That's a good idea.
When they don't stop, they'll be in contempt twice over.
There, see, and then put a cover letter with it. This process, I'm bringing this to you to give you an opportunity to stop being in contempt of court or something like that. Just have it served. You don't have to be ugly that way, and let them make the decision.
That's right.
Very good.
Yeah, because I'm not interested in losing my job yet. Not until I get all of my little ducks in a row.
I understand that.
But yeah, that's what I'm thinking about because they're leaning on me pretty hard.
Yep.
Well, thanks, guys, for this conversation.
Thank you for being here.
And this
thank
call.
You for being
Absolutely.
Here. Oh, I thank everybody for being here. Mr. G, I thank you for being here tonight.
Kerry?
You're welcome.
I need to make an announcement. We got a problem when our next call is due. It's December the 25th.
Well, then you know what we have to do, don't you?
Call Santa Claus back in?
Yeah, we'll call Santa Claus back in. We can take that one off if we had to.
Yeah, I think we'll do that. We'll skip. Our next call will be in January.
Yeah, that probably would be wise. But I want to say thank you for those of you that are here. Just real quick, on your invitation that you got emailed to you, Ed has his email address there. If you email Ed, he can answer almost every question. If you want to talk to me, he'll give you my number. I just don't want to put it out over the air, but he'll give it to you. You can talk to Ed, and we're very reachable, and we're really not that bad of guys. Thank you for being here. Ed's not too nice. Ed's not too nice. Yeah, thank you.
Merry Christmas, fellas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas. Thank you.
Merry Christmas.